Are you familiar with where Joshua said, "Choose you this day whom you will serve, but as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord"? Oh, I'm Clarence. I'm the preacher. Joshua told the people to pick a religion and go for it. He was not going to force his own ideas on the people, but he definitely knew what direction he wanted to go. Religion is a choice, and it's a serious choice. It's not like going to Toco Bell and trying to pick out what you want to eat for lunch. This would be more like a college major. This is something that is going to affect your entire lifetime. And when you make this choice, then you remake the choice day by day, year after year, decade after decade. And when you do that and you stick with it, you hold on to your choice, you become stronger and stronger. You get to be kind of like Paul, where he said in Philippians chapter 4 and verse 13, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." But actually in that text, in the two verses before that, verse 11 and verse 12, he said, "I have learned in whatever condition or state I'm in." He learned that he could do all things. In other words, Paul made a choice. Now, most of us would say he made that choice there on the Damascus Road, and he made a choice. He said, "Okay, I've been going the wrong direction. I need to change." And then he stuck with that choice, even though it was hard. It was extremely difficult, but Paul had what we call follow through. Paul knew that he had to stick with it. It couldn't just make the choice one day and then next week make a different choice and then next week make a different choice. You know, people are always looking for the shortcut. And in spirituality, there is no shortcut. So Paul stands out as an awesome example, just like Joshua does. They made a choice and they held on to their choice until they reached the end. Now, Paul would write 1 Corinthians 9 and 27, where he would say, "I discipline my body and I bring it in subjection." And there is that choice again. It is making the choice over and over. Paul wasn't perfect. He stumbled at times. And when he'd stumble, he'd get back up. Probably looked back over his shoulder now and then and thought, "Boy, that was an ugly performance on my part." But instead of getting discouraged and quitting because he didn't have a 100% perfect record, he got back up and he reaffirmed his choice to be the best that he could be in Christ. Peter, same way. Peter did a lot of stumbling, and Peter was sifted by Satan, and yet Peter got back up after a pretty ugly performance there in the courtyard, denying Christ 3 times, and yet he got back up. He said, "I made a choice to follow Jesus. I made a decision, and I may not have a perfect score, but I'm not giving up my choice." He was kind of like Joshua. He had chosen who he was going to follow, and he did, all the way to the end. And so what we have in making a choice is not just a one-time thing where you say, "Okay, I made a choice." But it's that follow through. It's that get back up muscle. It's that determination that says, "I'm hanging in here. I'm in for the duration. I am a person of significance. I am going to make progress. I am going to make a contribution to my community. And I know I'm not going to do it by being a quitter. I'm not going to do it by being the kind of person that changes choices every 3 days or every 3 months or whatever. I want to be that kind of person that stays on the forward path. Sure, I may stumble forward sometimes, but even that's progress, right? Now, you don't beat yourself up too much when you stumble forward. You're just, okay, that was the right direction. Wasn't too pretty, but that's all right. It was the right direction. Now, I understand this whole concept of making a choice and reaffirming that choice day by day, sometimes hour by hour perhaps, is not popular with most of our population today. Most people want a quick, easy answer, but Christianity is not that answer. Christ said, "Straight and narrow is the way. Few there be who find it." You make that choice to travel the straight and narrow way, it's going to be tough. Paul said in Acts 14 and 22, we must enter the kingdom through many tribulations. And if you really want to look at some tribulations, go to 2 Corinthians 11, start reading at verse 23, and then just follow that on through chapter 12 and verse 10, and Paul will tell you about tribulation and trouble. But he kept reaffirming his choice because he had chosen long ago who he would serve, and he would not let go of that choice. And so he kept pressing, and he kept pressing on. And that's what you and I are going to do. We're going to imitate Paul as he imitates Christ. That's what he said in 1 Corinthians 11:1. We're going to imitate Paul. And Paul said in Philippians chapter 3, verse 12, 13, and 14, I'll paraphrase a bit, I press on. Not that I've already apprehended, not that I've already been made perfect. I press on. And that's the way to victory. You make a choice and you reaffirm that choice day after day after day until one day you cross the finish line and step into that victory on the other side of the tombstone. That's the goal. Hey, share this video if you think it would help encourage somebody else. Put your comments below if you'd like. And as always, I hope you have a great day.